Good afternoon, HBA members. Really glad to have you on. The HBAU webinar series is designed to focus on member-wide interests and aimed at helping your business. So we do have a lot of webinar series through the HBA, through our councils, which are fantastic, but these HBAU webinars are designed for member-wide, and we really try to focus on how we can help everybody's business throughout the entire HBA of Metro Denver. So with that, I would like to thank our sponsors, and we have so many of them, and we appreciate all of you so much. So I won't take the time to read through them all, but if you can just peruse through that slide and thank them. They are members, they are supporters of the HBA, and if they're hearing it from all of you, how much you appreciate their support of the industry, that would be wonderful. Next slide, please. So first, a little bit of housekeeping. A lot of you have been on webinars and you already know this. We created this slide, Connie and I, when it all first started, but it is worth noting. If you cursor to the bottom edge of your screen, you'll find a Q&A icon, and you'll be able to ask questions of the panel during the whole course of this webinar. So questions are going to be managed based on time, but oftentimes you'll be thinking, oh, I wish I could ask that question. Just type it in. It can either be answered right away or it can be answered after a segment. Also, with housekeeping, I want to let you all know there's going to be a feedback survey at the end of this webinar, and we would truly appreciate your input. That is what helps us to get the great speakers like we have today, and to make sure that we're identifying exactly what your needs are. The world has changed, things are always moving, and one thing that the HBA loves is to have predictability and have flexibility. So if you need something, please let us know. Next slide, please. So it is very exciting for me to today introduce our prestigious presenters. Cumulatively, so as an aggregate, these three gentlemen have 136 years of experience. So you are all in for quite a treat and learning an awful lot, including myself. They are engaged in businesses with builders and developers. They have 646 entities, meaning individualized businesses, maybe subsets of businesses, but 646 entities underneath their belt as well. Manufacturers, vendors, subcontractors, service companies, employers, and professional trade associations such as the HBA. They are involved in about 3,120 of them. Just staggering. Value of the builder experience is about $37 billion, includes marketed, sold, and financed, and well over 100 industries served. Very accomplished. Next slide, please. So today's panelists are S. Robert August, and I suspect all of you know Robert. If you don't, you're in for a real treat. I'm not going to read through all his credentials. You can read them up there, but he is president and founder of North Star Synergies, and he has been a part of our HBA. We are so fortunate to have his institutional history, his passion, and his desire to help our membership individually and collectively. So thank you, Robert, for being here.
Thank you.
We also have Peter Garvin, and Peter is a certified mortgage lender, and he's the Vice President, Business Development with Zenith Home Loans. So welcome, Peter. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have Jeff Wilson, and Jeff is also a member of the HBA, and he is CEO of Loomview Enterprises. And I've had the pleasure of knowing Jeff for about a year now, And just so appreciative that you're here with the other two to share the expertise with all of us. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Jeff.
Right. Cherie, thank you so much. Really want to thank you and Connie for this opportunity, and thank you for your kind words. That's really means a lot. I want to also express really gratitude to all the people who are attending today and investing the time. Everybody is really busy, and as we all deal with all the issues of COVID, it adds a lot of stress, a lot of changes and challenges. And that's really why Robert, Peter, and I spent so much time to distill the 10 best solutions that we could find that apply to virtually every business, every kind of home builder, designer, consultants, contractors. We have people, engineers, fencing companies, general contractors, insurance, interior design. This, what we're going to share with you, regardless of your business, will apply to you. Now, we may give some specific examples. So I'm going to ask everybody, really pay attention. This is not an educational webinar that you're going to hear in the background. This is going to really engage you to think at the highest level. So you'll want to take notes. And after our session, Connie will be sending out an action plan for you. So you can review your notes, and for each of the 10 solutions we share with you, to identify the absolute best strategies and tactics for you. The whole goal is action. In other words, learning something new isn't going to help you, it's applying it. So our goal is to help you transform your business and transform the challenges you have into opportunities. So we really want to encourage you to be engaged, whether it be in chat or the Q&A, to ask questions. We may not answer it necessarily during, but it'll give us some time to think about it. And we're going to have a Q&A session at the end and available. So please put your questions in. If we're not able to get to it, we'll be back to you. We're just really excited to have that opportunity and to share what we believe can be a life-changing experience for you. When you look at that action plan that you'll be getting, I'm going to ask you each to go through all of the things that you learned, you thought might make sense, and to pick the 3 best that you're committed to working on in the next 30, 60 days, 30 to 60 days. And hopefully we'll have a chance to hear back from you and maybe even meet with you again to go over that, because you implementing this can grow your business by 10%, 20%, 50%, even during the current crisis. So that being said, I'd like to really introduce a friend of mine and really a legend in the home building industry, Robert August.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, Jeff, for your outstanding remarks. We are so fortunate, audience, and all of you participating today, to have the best executive officer of all the HBAs, all the 700 home builder associations nationwide participating with us today, along with the very, very finest marketing guru who is retained by the Home Builders Association of Metro Denver, Connie Dahl, to also help us. You all that are listening, please take the time to get more involved with Connie and Cherie, all the participants working so hard for you at the HBA, Carrie and Toby and Rich. I think that with that said, please take time to call 303-778-1400 whenever you have a question about the industry, whenever you would like to network, become more educated, and also use the most outstanding advocacy talent in all of Colorado and the United States to protect your interest in our association. So with that said, let's jump into some of the material right now. So as we look at the opportunity, what we've got to do is reevaluate our marketing and sales plan. We put together 1 year, 3 year, 5 year plans. And the best plan, ladies and gentlemen, is no more than a 6-week plan. What we've got to do is tweak. We've got to evaluate where we are today, where our qualified customers are coming from, where our sales are matriculating from, and how we're taking advantage of all the customers that we have sold, whether it's the last year, the last 5 years, the last 10 years. Everybody that bought us is a buyer, and we have to stay in touch with them and find out what their particular needs are. We know, for example, that there's a tremendous opportunity for all of you who are selling your products and services to be attacking from a marketing perspective all of the condominiums, all of the mid-rise, all of the apartments, and all of the very high-rise condominiums that are in the marketplace, because these people are set to move. We also know that if they're not set to move, they are set to revise their homes, revise their places of business, and their plants. So we would encourage you to research as much as possible. We want you to pay attention. If you don't have the research, I'd like you to turn to your favorite national mortgage company, for example, like Peters at Zenith Home Loans. Those of you who are working with so many of our other members, DHA Financial, Wells Fargo, it goes on and on and on, Chase. And I think that all of these people will provide you with research materials that they have about the industry, not only about the industry, but what consumers are doing, what their buying habits are, what their demographics are, what their psychographics and what their geographic locations are, and with the fact that they're about ready to either move or make product changes within their lifestyle. We already know that COVID has made such a difference. We even have coined new terms. We know about inner city, we know about suburbia, but do we know about urban rural, which is the next area after the suburbs? Do we know about rural urban? All of these markets are available. Rural urban is after urban rural. So in essence, in coining these phrases and moving them forward, we understand where people are moving, where they're looking, and as a result, it's going to make a difference with you and for you as you plan. Pay attention to the demographers. Pay attention to the researchers. Pay attention. One of our outstanding members, John Covert. Can you imagine being in research and having a last name of Covert? I think it's fantastic. If I were in research, I'd change my name to Covert also. And John is an outstanding member and will provide you through MetroStudy with a tremendous amount of up-to-date research, up-to-date, not what was happening 6 months, 4 years ago, what's happening today and what's forecast tomorrow. So in essence, as we jump from research, we also want you to pay attention to the fact that you've got to look at your branding. One of the things that we find in different cultural changes, in different environments, it's important for us to realize where our logo is. What is our slogan? We can change our logo. We can change our slogan if the time is right. We can also look at the different products and series of products we have and think about how we can package and merchandise and bring those products to market. And we're going to hear some outstanding words of wisdom from Jeff shortly as it relates to cross-marketing and how to bring about change when the evolution is right for change. And I think that the branding aspect is don't be afraid to look at new colors. Every year we find that there are new colors that are introduced into the market. Joe Charbonneau is one of the most outstanding color experts in the country. And he consults with the Sherwin-Williams of the world, the PPGs. PPG, by the way, surprisingly, for a factoid, is the largest paint company in the world. Sherwin-Williams has tremendous retail stores. So as we get involved with the various opportunities and look at our companies, find members that are in our marketplace that have this wisdom and knowledge to take their research and also to understand the evolutionary changes of brands. We're so fortunate also to have many members who are involved with advertising and public relations and promotional opportunities. And we want you to take advantage of the folks that are local. Buy from existing members of the association. Those people are dedicated. They've made the investment to learn our industry and continue to learn our industry. And that's why we want to continue improving our brand. And the next point that we'd like to address, once you've completed your website, ladies and gentlemen, and have refreshed it and made it right, I've got to tell you, it's obsolete. You've got to continue to keep your website updated. At our company, we spend time every week adding a podcast like this, or adding an article that might have been written by one of our team members, or an interview that might have taken place, regardless of whether it's in Denver, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, or anywhere in the world where we're working today. What we want to do is be able to update our website, make it fresh, make it clean, and we also want to make sure that the products and services that we are best serving, and the best products that we have, they're in the beginning. They're not hidden somewhere in the back. We want to let people know about who we are, what we're doing, and how they can reach us so that we can make a difference with and for them. A lot of times you'll make calls to corporations, and you'll be on the phone, and you'll be telling them about your product, and you'll have your 30-second, your 60-second elevator speech. And what I would encourage you to do is have them go online with you as quickly as possible. Use that website as an electronic brochure and get them involved in participating the same way we are today. Advertising is important. And when we talk about advertising, promotions, public relations, I'd like you to make a note on your keyboard right now. Advertising should be 50% of your budget, your marketing budget. Promotion should be 35%, and public relations should be 15%. Advertising is used to create qualified leads. It's not used to sell a product or service. It's used to attract your consumer public, your existing buyers, your past buyers, your existing buyers, and your future buyers. And going after the right audience is critical, and making sure that you have the right demographic information to attract the best audience. We've seen a lot of change from print into digital, which is great, but we would also encourage you to pay attention to the print side. The print is coming back in certain areas around the country. And we found, for example, one major company that prepares newsletters for real estate corporations and real estate brokerage companies throughout the country. They found recently that surprisingly, of all places in Silicon Valley, you would think that everybody would want their emails online, that they want their e-zines, their newsletters online. Well, they did. And then they found that they weren't paying attention because they didn't have enough time. So they went back to the publisher and they asked the publisher to print again. And again, they got both electronic and print, and we're seeing more of that. So pay attention. Don't just swing one way. Pay attention to your customers and qualify them from an advertising standpoint. One of the most important things I can tell you about the advertising, promotion, and public relations, we would like you to pay attention. And when you qualify the buyer as to how they heard about you, don't assume to ask that question first and get it out of the way. If you do, when you do, you only get one answer. And that one answer will probably be a drive-by or I was thinking about you. We want you to ask that qualifying question at the end, at the very end of the presentation that you've made, because then they'll give you 3, 4, 5 reasons. So many times, a salesperson thinks, well, if I met one person, I need one answer and then I'll be okay with my sales manager. It ain't so. The more information and data that we can get and find out how the customer heard about us, we can prepare a better evaluation of our marketing plan. Promotion. You've all learned, someone told you somewhere that the 3 most important ingredients in real estate are location, location, location. I defy that point of view. I think it's secondary, maybe even tertiary, because we've taken product that's a C product and made it an A product. And I've got to tell you, to me, the 3 most important ingredients are contact, contact, contact. Nothing happens without people speaking to people. And the more that they visit, the more that they exchange information, the more success that they are going to have and you are going to have with the opportunity. So we'd like you to consider doing promotional events. Get involved with the Parade of Homes. Get involved with this event that was created in 1986 for our association. It's amazing. 34 years ago, if you can imagine, this event was created. We want you to get involved. Even though we have CDC protocols that limit the number of people that can come into a particular home, I've got to tell you, we just finished an opportunity where we did not have the volume of people, but we had the success rate. 50% of everyone that came to visit us in a community nearby, 50% could afford homes that were $1 million or more. 50% were qualified. And those people, you may have less traffic, but you're going to have more qualified traffic. Take advantage of the parade of homes. It's the best single promotion that you can get involved with today. Regardless of whether you're a builder, a developer, if you are a supplier, get out there and meet the public. If you are a vendor, if you are a lender, get out there, meet people, meet the folks, get involved with the HBA and sponsor. Call Connie today. Do not pass go. 303-551. I hope it's the right number, 6720. Of course, you can always call 303-778-1400. So promotions are key because they get people together with people. And the third area, public relations. We're telling the story. We're creating credibility. We're sharing that with the media, not just the print, but the electronic, not just television, but we want to get to the radio stations that also promote this. We also want to reach out, and make sure that we're working directly through Builder Magazine, that we're professional builder knows about us and what we're doing. They will promote you. They're doing daily blogs, and we'd like you to create a daily blog. We'd like you to get involved right away and use this initiative today to start to springboard ideas. Next point that we'd like to share with you. So as we jump into this market, and we understand the importance of customer service, it's critical for us to understand all of the importance of using customer service. When you keep your customers happy, they will keep you happy. Don't assume that because you made a sale, now it's time to move on to another priority. Take care of that buyer. I grew up in an old line family business that was started in 1891. And the hallmark of my father, when I had the opportunity to work with him as the third generation chairman of the board, he would say to me, don't assume that you know everything. Be flexible, but in that, take care of all of your customers. And the first thing he said, 1/3 of your customers you'll always get, you'll retain, you'll hold on to because you're going to take care of them. 1/3 will always be in transition, and 1/3 you won't be able to get. But when you have a customer, seize the day, take care of that customer. Make sure that you delivered, you set the expectations, you delivered the expectations, and you followed up with those expectations that you delivered and shared. And customer service, I'd like to tell you, you're always going to be successful. You have to try to be successful. There's always 1% of the people out there that are a little different, that are interesting, but we work with those and we handle the challenge and we set the expectations and follow through from a customer service standpoint. And when we start to think about taking all of these initiatives and putting them together into a collaboration point, it's important to also realize that we don't know everything. I keep learning from my mentors. Who are my mentors? My mentors are people who are my competitors. My mentors are people like Peter and Jeff, who are in the business industry every day, selling and sharing ideas and information in order to make a difference with and for their marketplace. I think it's critically important to take the time to get to know the market. And when you see somebody that's done something great and you like it, adopt those people into your mentorship program. Get to know them and get to share that information. It's also important to use your existing customers within that collaboration situation. We need to survey them. We need to go back to them. We need to call them. We need to invigorate them. We need to talk to our past customers from a year or 2, 3 years ago. And one of the reasons is they're living and breathing the products that we have sold to them, whether they're homes or their appliances. We want to understand how they're using our products and services. So the more we can do that, we can create an opportunity. We also would encourage you to use the HBA as a networking opportunity. We want you to collaborate and get the best minds. You've got 2 of the best minds that are on the call today. From a marketing perspective, there's Connie. From an organizational, from a government affairs perspective, there is nobody that I've worked with throughout the United States. And we work with hundreds of HBAs and many, many companies. No one is better suited to handle the organization than Cherie Talbert. And so in essence, the more that we have an opportunity to do that, it helps us to put together a collaborative nature of network professionals, many of which are sitting in their offices paying attention today to this outstanding presentation that Jeff and Peter and Cherie and Connie are making. And I would encourage you to get to know the outstanding performers. If you don't know someone, pick up the phone. Said like 15 minutes of your time. I've really enjoyed what you've done. I'd like to schedule an appointment to share information. Review your success, review the successes. There's an old adage from Rudyard Kipling, success is failure turned inside out. We're all not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but we would encourage you to get involved, review the successes that you've had, make notes, create an archive, put together a little program that says, what am I trying to accomplish? What was the platform to go attack the situation, and what were the results? Three basic points. What are we going to do? Then what do we do, and what are the results? We want you to archive that and see how you're progressing with your successes and your failures. And Jeff, let's move on to the next point. So as we get to that situation, we have to debrief and constantly evaluate our performance. It might be daily, it might be weekly. You have to do it at least every 2 weeks. You have to stop, breathe, smell the roses. You've got to take the time to evaluate your performance and the performance of your collaborative team that you've put together to help mentor you today and tomorrow. And that's why we're going to move on to the next area. We want you to also think about revising your plan of action. Remember, I said earlier, the best 5-year plan is no more than a 6-week plan. We've got to pay attention. It's not for the sake of making drastic changes as much as it is we've got to be able to move and be quick and nimble. And so we want you to pay attention to the marketplace. Things are different today with COVID-19 than they were before. Customers are talking about bidets. I mean, we knew how to spell it, but do we know what to do with it? So in essence, product changes are also going to happen. We're going to see cabinets that are going to continue to increase in kitchen size. We're going to see staging areas for packages coming into homes and other opportunities. Deliveries are going to change. And it's important to surround yourself with the best programs so you can not only revise your plan of action, but you can also execute the best plan. We need you to take it to market. We need you to pay attention. So as we jump into sales team training and tools, preparation and marketing and selling propositions, we want you to think of all the unique marketing and selling propositions. We want you to make a list. The list could be 5, it could be 500. The key is that what distinguishes you and the company that you represent from every other company that you know about. Are you effective? Are you efficient? Are you successful? Have you been in business for 76 years? What are the categoristic aspects that you can put into your list? And from those unique propositions, you're going to be able to make a much better presentation once you start to integrate those into your program. And we would encourage you to think about how you can integrate those. We want you to create an elevator speech. One speech? No. We want you to create a minimum of 3 speeches. We want you to have a 30-second speech. And then we want to evolve those same points from the 30-second speech into that of a 1 minute. And then we want you to take it to a 2-minute. And when you walk into a networking environment, even if it's a virtual chat room and there's 100 people there, we want you to be able to exchange the information, the key points about you and the company that you represent. So elevator speeches are extremely important, and you can be quick and nimble. At the last minute today, I made a change of presentation points to meet the needs of this audience when I found out who was going to be here today. You have to do the same when you're presenting to the chairman of the board, to a president, to a sales manager, to a purchasing agent, whatever that may be. We've got to be quick and nimble and be ready to adapt our presentation skills. We need to continue to create team meetings. One of the key things that we have done over the years, we have a series of team meetings when it comes to sales and marketing. We meet in a gross situation at least once a week. We have policy and procedure manual going on at the same time. We break out the sales and marketing, as I shared. Then we work one-on-one later in the week with the individual sales team members. And then we work with them every day, where we're on the phone 3-4 times a day, also exchanging emails and making a difference. So all of these things are really important. And then we jump into the fact that we also want you to role play. Role play is the toughest. If you can be a great role player, you're going to be the most outstanding salesperson. Role playing is when you work with your peers and you test out each other. You present your individual presentations one-on-one with an individual. And believe me, you'll improve. It's one of the worst things that people have a fear of, but at the same time, when you evolve to doing this, it's going to make you sharper and give you much more presentation. I want you to read anything and everything. I want you to read David Baldacci's latest novel. I want you to read John Grisham. Read novels. And we sure want you to read business magazines, business articles, business books as well about sales and marketing and all the other disciplines that you're going to learn about today. The more you read, the more articulate you will become. So we would encourage that. Evaluate your performance. We need to do that, as I shared before, the same debriefing techniques. You need to evaluate how you're progressing with your team members. People are going to have a slump. We have shopped thousands of salespeople nationwide over the years. And I've got to tell you, we would never take on an evaluation to only do one evaluation. Everybody is not always at their peak performance. But what we have found is that by doing this and asking and sharing the information, we have over 100 categories. And when we evaluate the performance of the sales team, we know the strength and weakness. We listen to our audio tapes. We listen to the team after we've had the opportunity to visit and put the information together. Evaluate the performance all the time. And in essence, I really thank you for being here. Get involved with the HBA. Join the Parade of Homes as soon as possible in any way that you can. Call Connie today. Do not pass go. Get involved with the organization. Make Connie, Cherie, Toby, Rich, Carrie proud of your participation. Thank you for affording me the opportunity to be here today, Jeff.
Great, Robert, thank you so much. Again, want to thank everybody for being here and encourage you to ask questions in the chat or the Q&A. If they can be answered during the session, great. Otherwise, at the Q&A, or we'll get back to you. But wasn't Robert incredible? I mean, that's awesome. So I'm going to talk about something that may seem a little less exciting, but for me, I'm a numbers geek, and this turns me on, and it will totally change your business. And it's the 10 key numbers in your business. The first number that we start with for every business is how many existing clients do you have? And for that, those are individuals, businesses that have paid you money for your products or services. And it could be in the last 6 months, last 8 months, last 7 years, last 3 years, last 20 years. It really depends on your business. When we're working with realtors, they'll actively be in contact with people for 30 years, or in some cases until they die, because if they've lived in a home their whole life, eventually it's going to be sold. They'll stay in contact. If you're in the insurance business, it would be every 12 months. You want to make sure at least to be in touch, but perhaps more often because you don't want to wait till a renewal. So it really depends upon your industry, but it's critical that you use a database, a CRM, and it could be any kind of system to do it. In the old days, we used index cards, but with computers, there's so many ways to do it. And then what you want to do is rate every one of your existing clients, A, B, C, and D. And Peter's going to talk about this some more. Be in contact with them. Be in communication. They're one of the best sources of future business, and that's by having a retention rate. And what's your retention rate? It's what percentage of those who have done business with you in the past continue to do business with you, or have another transaction, do business with you again. And the top strategies for that is to be rigorous about being in contact with them and have a process for it. It may be newsletters, it may be mail, it may be gifts, it may be loyalty awards, it may be client appreciation events. But for every business, perhaps your most valuable asset are your existing clients, because it costs 7 times more to make a sale to a new prospect than it does to make a sale to an existing or previous client. So I've just showed you how you can reduce by 6/7 your marketing costs by focusing on your existing clients. It's critical. Imagine if you made 10% improvements in each of these. As we go through these 10, we're not talking a 10% or even 100% improvement. It's more than a 200% improvement. That's the value of making these incremental improvements. The next area is leads, and this is where a lot of businesses focus on, which is, I need more leads. Well, leads are valuable and they're great. Those are new potential clients, but you're spending quite a bit of money and or time or resources on doing that. Are you really taking advantage of all that investment you've made? It's critical that you do job number 1, which is capture their information, their name, their phone number, their email, perhaps their company website. Again, it depends on the business. It may be the kind of home they're looking for. If you offer a number of different products, what product category are they at? So that your future communications can be directly in line with them. And it's amazing how many businesses will spend a fortune on marketing, but fail at this area. So don't fail at that. Capture that key information as soon as you can. The next critical number is conversion rate. And that's the percent of leads who become clients. So the number 1 strategy for doing better in this is to have a formal sales process. Robert gave you some great ideas specifically about how to do that in terms of having your messaging, in terms of contacts, in terms of role playing. Have an outline or a script and follow that track. The key today is trust and relationship. There are many ways to do that. And again, Peter will talk about that. It's so critical to maintain that relationship because conversion can dramatically improve your overall results. And what you want to do is, and I'm going to cover these both at the same time. So the first one is the number of transactions, which is how many services or the number of items they buy from you. And then what's the dollar value they pay you for a transaction. So again, whether they're buying a home from you or whether they're buying insurance from you or they're buying fixtures or perhaps legal services or accounting services, do you have the ability to have add-ons? Are there upsells? Are there cross-sells? So many different ways to do that. So what you want to do is have a checklist of all of the different offerings that you can offer. You may want to have a basic offering, a middle offering, and a premier offering. Very often they'll pick the middle one. What that does is it improves all of this. Let me give one example of a paint store we worked with years ago. They were about a $1.2 million locally owned paint store competing against all the big boxes and the specialty stores. And what would happen is people would come in, a lot of do-it-yourselfers who would come in, they wanted to paint, they'd grab a couple cans of paint, a brush, and maybe a drop cloth. Then they realize, oh gee, I need more stirs, I need a new pan, the pan I had is totally gone, I need extra rollers, or maybe I want a high-speed roller, an electronic roller, and they come back. Then they leave, and then they come back again because there's more things they forgot. They said, oh, we need something to do the corners. We need this kind of tape. By the third time they came back, they were closed, so they end up going to the big box. They just lost a customer. So what we did was work with them in creating a list of 118 items. And you can do this. It doesn't matter what business you're in. It doesn't matter what product or service you sell. Have a checklist, and how you present it may be differently, but what we did is we presented it to them either at the door or when they were online after they've done some shopping and say, these are some other items that we found that people want. Can we help you in selecting these while you wait online or as you're shopping so that we can save you time so you can make sure that you get what you want? What happened was the average number of items purchased went from 3 items per sale to 17 per sale. And that business grew from 1.2 million to over 7 million in 3.5 years. That is the power of using these types of strategies, and encourage you to do that in your business. The next, and this is probably in my book, and working with clients, the number one thing that we work on, which is profit margins. It doesn't matter how much you sell if you're not making money, and you're not going to make more money by selling more of a money-losing product. So what is it? So what you need to do is, for each product and service you sell, what is the percentage of every dollar that is profit? And what that means is, after all expenses to produce, deliver, and provide that product or service. So first thing is, dig really deep in your top 10 sellers. One contractor we worked with, we looked at the 10 top products they were selling, and what we found was that their number one seller, they were losing money on a lot. The second one, they lost a little, and they made a small profit on the third. So what we did is, we adjusted pricing, we adjusted marketing, we adjusted packaging. We packaged several products together as a package. Their number one product was part of a package to boost the overall value and profit. That business dramatically went from operating at a small loss to an impressive profit in just a year, by making these incremental changes. You may want to raise prices, cut losers, do those packages. It's essential that you know what's really the profitability, and whether you're selling time or materials or land or your intellect, make sure that you're generating an increasing level of profit with each transaction. What's your business overhead? Business overhead, very simply, are the expenses whether or not you sell a single item. And that's the cost to keep the doors open. And if you have a smaller business, and I can say this pretty much is the case for almost every business that I've ever worked with fewer than 20 employees, is to raise your salary. Now you may say, well, that's contradictory. If we're supposed to, if we want to improve our business, we need to lower overhead. No, you need to make sure, if you're the business owner, that you're well paid for what you do, and make sure you do all these strategies that we're talking about over time and implement them in your business so you justify that salary. Use systems and technology to lower your costs and to improve your efficiency. Taxes are what you pay to any governmental organization, and it's based on typically your business income. It may be a head tax or so, but what you have to understand is, once it's paid out, 99.9% of the time, once you pay it out, it's gone. And that's a catch-22. We want to make more money, so we generate more taxes. That's why it's so critical to have a great tax advisor. I have never had a CPA that cost me money. Every CPA I've ever hired has found ways, through taxes and through improvement in my operations and doing things a better way, to make more money in my business. So I look at my CPA not as a tax preparer, but as a valued advisor to help me make more money in my business. And finally is the multiple in your business. Now you may say, well, gee, our business is sold on this basis, or I have a small business that won't sell. Every business, if you've invested your time, your life, your energy, your money, time away from your family to do this, it's critical that you get well paid for it. So what is the multiple that's applied to either your sales, your gross revenue, your EBITDA, your after-tax cash flow, it may be number of customers, but some other financial result that ends up determining the market value of your business. This is key. And helping businesses to improve their value in the marketplace is critical. Using the strategies we're sharing with you, you can do this. The number one strategy in this is build systems. Document what you're doing. Be diligent about creating the kind of operations manual I'll talk about, so that you can increase the value of your business to anyone who would want to buy it. So evaluating employee performance is essential. And in order to do that, what you need to do is get position title, their tasks, what are they doing, what do you want them to accomplish, and be really clear about what you expect of them and how you're going to measure their performance. Not only do you want to define it, but in measuring the performance, what is the goal? What do you want them to achieve so that you can evaluate their performance? And what we have found is that the biggest challenge for new hires is that they're not a cultural fit. What does that mean? That means that you need to make sure that anyone you hire or anyone on your team is totally in line with your core values, your attitudes, your priorities, the environment of your business. Are they a great fit for the DNA of your business? Or if they're not a fit, they may be even toxic or parasitic. So once you do that, the next thing is to evaluate them. I'm going to share this with you. You need to rate everyone on your team or everyone you will hire in the future as either A, B, C, or D. A is someone who is always great. You wish you had 10 or maybe 100 of these on your team. B is they're really good, but it could be an A if they could just develop this one ability or overcome this challenge. C is you can barely stand them, meaning on a good day they're acceptable, but every now and then, or maybe on a regular basis, there are just challenges. And D, frankly, is they're dead to me. They suck the life out of me and my business, and they're toxic. And when you evaluate your employees like this, this is liberating because it then enables you to do the next critical step, which is to create an action plan. So for every person you employ, develop a plan to mentor, develop, or promote them, to address challenges, to train them, to develop accountabilities, or to transition them to another role. And the sixth item that we want to talk to you about is having systems and using systems and technology in your business. Every aspect of your business must be systematized. How you answer the phone, how you open up your business, how you engage with a potential client, how you handle existing customers, how you handle service calls, how you handle a sales presentation. Everything needs to be systemized. And then you make sure you have great people to humanize what those exceptions are, because 80% of everything you do can be run by system. But 1 out of 5 things, 20% of the time, it's not going to fit into any system. You need terrific people to apply your values, your intellectual property, your skill set, the value you bring as a business, and apply it to that 20%. If you don't have systems, your people are doing that 100% of the time. A system makes them far, far more efficient. So, and what that does is once you have those systems, they run your business, and then your great people who you want to have as many A people or all A people on your business, your people run the systems. You as the business owner, as the manager, lead your people. And in closing, these are the key things you want to do in systems and technology. Flowchart every procedure, every process. Create detailed operations manuals. Use pictures, videos, explanations. Step-by-step processes. And then you want to evaluate the performance of every member on your team in each of these areas and build into everything you do a plan for continuous improvement. Now I want to introduce Peter Garvin, who's going to share with you critical aspects to taking your business to the next level and doing things in this time that'll skyrocket your business. Peter.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Robert, and also thank you to the HBA. Well, it's a great opportunity to be here today, and thank you to all of you that are listening, and I hope you're having a great afternoon and learning a lot. So I would like you to write down something before I start, and it's very simple. Write down Google, United Airlines 2011 commercial, a leadership moment. Again, Google, United Airlines 2011 commercial, a leadership moment. And on the topic of reconnecting, I want you to watch this when you have the opportunity. I'm going to summarize what the commercial says, but it really hits home in this current environment that we're in. We have been displaced and put away from all of our customers because of regulatory issues where we couldn't even get together for a long period of time. It's changed the whole way that we do business. So let me just kind of set the stage on what happens in this commercial and how it's related to reconnecting. So a CEO or executive walks into a group of his salespeople, and there's probably 20 to 30 of the salespeople there. And he walks in and he looks at everybody and he says, well, I just got off a telephone call with one of our customers that we've had for 20 years. And he fired us. And you see the look on everybody's face that they can't believe it, that are all salespeople for this company. And he says, the reason they fired us is because they don't know us anymore. And as I was listening to this, I'm going like, wow, here's a 2011 commercial and it's so applicable today. He continues. He says that not only do we not sit down and talk to them anymore, we're not even calling them. We're doing everything with our customers by fax. There's no interaction anymore. There's no community feeling. And so he says, so to all of you that are involved in the sales aspect of this, we're going to make a change for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And in the door walks his administrative assistant. And remember, once again, this is a United Airlines commercial with a bunch of airline tickets. And he says, we're going to go visit for the next 2 to 3 weeks all of our customers. And one of the salespeople raises their hand and says, but Joe, that's over 200 cities. And he says, that's correct, and that's why we split it out. So they hand the tickets out, give them to everybody with the explanation of what's going to happen and why the reconnecting is so important. So the same salesman raises his hand and says, Joe, what are you going to do? And Joe says, I'm leaving this afternoon with my ticket, and I'm getting on the plane to reconnect with a past friend and customer of ours that just fired us. So it really hits home. Again, I know I just said that, but it's so important to understand the reconnection that's so key right now. Well, what do you do when you reconnect? So it's a little different and more advanced now because fax machines obviously don't use that much, but we got Zoom, we got Team, we got Facebook, but the message is still the same. Get in touch with the customers and develop a productive conversation. I want to stress the word productive. The questions that you ask to your customers are not going to be yes and no answers. They're devised to bring out conversation, productive conversation, such as, how are you and your team doing? Well, you can't answer that with a yes or no. You've got to answer it with some kind of description. Number 2, what are your biggest concerns during and coming out of this pandemic? Number 3, what can I do with my team to help you get through this difficult time? They know what you do, what your business is, what your products are, what your services are. What can you bring to the table to help them get through this difficult period of time? And then finally, as soon as we've gotten past this pandemic, I'd like to get together over a cup of coffee to discuss some ideas, the balance of this year and beyond. They'll get it, they'll understand it. And of course, that's not going to happen until the regulations have changed and we're allowed to go out and meet one-to-one where people are more comfortable. So use this reconnect opportunity to cement existing customer relations by highlighting strategies that you're using to help the customer base be more effective and efficient. Such as, are you planning on hiring new employees this year? Have you collected any data to determine the efficiencies or lack thereof from people working remotely? We're finding that our team is 15% more efficient by working at home. We can now double or even triple our size without adding any more fixed cost in brick and mortar. We can have a lot more salespeople working out of their homes and being efficient. We've also found that in the past 90, 120 days, it's been a fabulous time to develop a new growth plan and tap into the labor market for displaced employees. Who's gotten hammered the most out of this pandemic? Food and beverage, restaurants, recreation. All those industries have displaced employees that are looking for something else to do now because their industry has been hit hard by all of this. So the other thing that we've found that we've been able to reduce the cost of sales and related expenses by virtual meetings through Zoom. Now, I know that sounds like it might be a contradiction with sitting down with somebody one-on-one, and it's going to be that way until it changes. So just understand that Zoom and all these other methods that we're using today are what we have to work with, and work with it the best you can. But we were spending $25,000 to $35,000 a month on travel-related expenses, hotels, airplanes, rental cars, meals. Those expenses have disappeared. They're not around anymore. Then get with the key decision makers and say, how often are you getting together with your team? This is a key point in time for the leadership of your company to show that you're doing things to help the employees. Deliver a positive and uplifting message in these times that includes the following. We're going to continue to look at growth opportunities for the balance of this year and beyond. The key to evolving during the changes like we're experiencing is to remain nimble and flexible. We need all of your help as employees and suggestions that you're seeing in your respective areas of the company. If you see something that can help us be more effective and efficient at growing the company, then please send those ideas to my personal email at whatever that email is. All right, moving on. Enhance and implement your referral programs. Do you have a referral program for your employees and customers? If yes, then do you have the metrics to measure the success of those efforts? That's very important, that you got to know if it's working. If you don't have one, you need to initiate one. If you do, how effective is it? Do you have an internal incentive program to reward your employees for helping the company increase sales? If you have 100 employees, what difference would 50 new sales mean to your bottom line? If half your employees were able to refer a business transaction, what could that mean to the bottom line? New hires that you're bringing into the company should immediately be indoctrinated with the referral program as a method of helping the company grow, and to also add another method of increasing their own income. The referrals that are generated internally should have a compensation to that, and that should flow directly to the person who's done the referral internally. In the mortgage business, when we're bringing on a new originator, we ask them their first day to make a comprehensive list of all their contacts, include friends, family, high school, college, religious affiliations, clubs and associations, sports teams, retail shops, restaurants, special events, and any other sectors. Once that originator's made that list, we then teach them how to speak with these potential referral customers. The 3 questions that we go through. I have recently made a change in my career objective, and I'm now working with ABC Mortgage Company. Because of our past friendship, business relationship, association, you're one of my first calls. Are you or anyone in your family looking to buy, sell, or refinance a home? It's that simple. The second question, do you have any friends or business acquaintances that have indicated a desire to buy, sell, or refinance a home? Again, asking them, they may not have anything currently, but they may have just talked to somebody. And thirdly, I'd like to include you on my new monthly messaging. May I have your permission, very important to ask, to include you on my once-a-month correspondence updating the value of your property and other helpful information. Not gardening tips, not brownie recipes, but something of value. What can we do in addition to the value of your property? Ask the questions, and maybe they'll tell you some things that they're looking to get. Referral programs have numerous objectives and benefits. Build an additional revenue stream for the company via a low-cost approach to securing the low-hanging fruit. Secondly, create an opportunity for the employee to increase their own personal income. As I said, if they bring a transaction in and it closes, they should be remunerated for that. Build a database that can be marketed to on a consistent basis with something of value. The more people we have in a database, the more people we have the opportunity to close. Tap into a consumer base that recently benefited from doing business with your company. Get them to offer additional sources of referral business while they're happy with what you provided. As a mortgage banker, the best time for us to ask for a referral is at the closing table. They're happy. They've just closed. They've either refinanced, they bought a new home. They're excited. They're happy. That's the best they've ever felt with you. Take that opportunity. By asking for a referral, you can experience a negative response as a result of something that didn't go correctly. You may have never known about that issue had you not asked for the referral that elicited the comment. You can then handle the issue and ensure that it doesn't happen again. Referral programs can lead you into untapped markets as a result of someone opening a door to a new market and a new opportunity. Somebody may introduce you to an executive officer in a company, and you could end up using this as a employee benefit or a some type of other opportunity to present to them by the employer, and the employer goes, wow, look at this. My employer is doing this for us. All right, thirdly, my last piece here is strategic alliances. And I'd like to explain what a strategic alliance is because I think it's an important definition to understand. So bear with me while I read the definition. An arrangement by where two or more companies undertake a mutually beneficial project while each entity retains its independence. That's important. The entities combine their respective resources, capabilities, and core competencies to reach the end game. This is not the same as a joint venture. A lot of people think that a strategic alliance and joint venture are the same. It is not. A joint venture actually requires the formation of a new entity with each partner putting up cash or services to fund the necessary regulatory requirements. That's not what happens in a strategic alliance. A great example of a strategic alliance is Starbucks in-house coffee shops in the Barnes & Noble bookstores. Well, what happens in Barnes & Noble? People buy books, they buy calendars, they buy magazines, and they sit around the Barnes & Nobles leafing through the publications. What a fantastic opportunity for Starbucks to be able to have a coffee shop in there where people can go and sit down, leaf through all the materials, and enjoy a cup of coffee. Classic strategic alliance. Why are strategic alliances important in business? They provide different companies the opportunity to compete with larger or more diversified companies without adding any significant costs. This benefit could be from sourcing, market penetration, personnel, marketing and merchandising opportunities, and numerous other methods of developing business and increasing revenue streams. The cross-selling of each of the partners is also very important. I'm going to spend just 1 minute on that. So let's say that we're a mortgage banker and a builder, and the builder salesperson has just closed the transaction. They know that the house is going to be finished in 60 days. So the last piece to put this all together is the financing. So Jack, who's the home builder, salesperson, says to Jane, who just bought the house, what a great decision you made. Excellent. We're going to have you get set up with our mortgage partner at ABC Mortgage. I'm going to call ahead and set that all up so when you call or they call you, you guys are going to already know each other. And so the salesperson does the initial work on that to open up the door to the mortgage company. Okay, let's flip hats. We're now the mortgage company. The mortgage company then, first thing that happens is they get in contact with Jane, and Jane says, wow, I'm really looking forward to this. We want to get the mortgage process started and get it finished in 60 days by the time a house is finished. And so they say, great, fabulous. Let's get you into the office as quickly as we can. And by the way, I see that you bought the spruce model at Apex Homes. What a great product that is. I've actually gone through that model home when they first opened 4.5 years ago, and I love it. I think it's a fantastic house. What are you going to do with that extra space on the 3rd floor? It's as simple as that. You made a great decision, reinforce the purchase decision, talk about what a great builder it is, and move on from there. So that's the importance of strategic alliances and cross-selling strategic alliance partners. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Peter. That was really amazing. I want to thank everybody for staying on. It seems like really appreciate. We've gone a little bit over. I have one more point that'll take a minute, and then we're going to open it up to Q&A for any questions you have. From our past experience in doing these webinars, there's as much value in the Q&A as there is in all the things that Robert and Peter have shared with you. So if there's any way you can stay on, I encourage you. So the last and final point for every business that's actually absolutely critical is that you monitor everything going on in your business and you evaluate it on a consistent and ongoing basis. And be objective. Whether you use a scorecard or you have specific measurements or you have an outside company do that, evaluate what you're doing, because that perspective will indicate where do you have to revamp, what do you have to change. Maybe you have to totally reinvent yourself and restart. But building that into your process will be life-changing for you personally. It'll keep you invigorated in your business, and it'll keep your business fresh and vital. And as Robert said, kind of like, it won't be like a 5-year-old website that's obsolete. It will be fresh and new and interesting and engaging. So with that, just really want to thank so much again to Cherie and for everything she's done to make this available, to Connie, her hard work in promoting this and being in communication with everyone and coordinating this, and the HBA of Metro Denver for the opportunity to share with you. And in closing, really would like to have Connie, Cherie, do you have any closing comments?
I do, absolutely, you guys. I actually feel like I just earned an MBA. So thank you three so much. I think everybody that's participating and everybody who will be participating, this will be in our HBAU library, available to be looked at over and over again. And then also, as you can see, each of the panelists have their contact information. Those are like little gold cards right there, in my opinion. And just loved that certain key points that I think a lot of us got out of, you know, Robert, the reevaluating your plan, your marketing plan. I think people kind of template it and they work it, but they don't reevaluate it. And the blog piece is always very fascinating to me because that's so current. So thank you for bringing that up. And Jeff, you know, 7 times more costly to attract a new client than existing clients. That's really good information to know. And as you're evaluating and weighing what it is you need to do and building your systems, and those are great things. And Peter, yeah, I can hardly wait to see that commercial. That sounds good, practical application thing to see that will just, you know, sometimes a picture says 1,000 words. It sounds like this commercial provide 5,000 words. And also really appreciate you said the key is remaining nimble and flexible. You know, I often say in the HBA world, when I'm doing advocacy or I'm working for our membership and associates, predictability and flexibility are the 2 things that I'm constantly balancing and weighing for our programming and the services we provide. So it kind of fits in with the nimble and flexible as well. So I'm fortunate I'm able to say what I gleaned from all of this. Hopefully we have other people that are going to be calling or have questions and answers that we can do right now. But really appreciate all that you have done. Connie, is there another slide that we should go to real quick and then we go back to Q&A? Okay, thank you. So for everybody on the webinar, again, we absolutely thank our sponsors and our supporters. Without them, how could we do all of this? So each one of the folks here on this screen should be one of your professional mentors that was talked about during this program. So please reach out to them. They're phenomenal. I know every single one of them, and likely you do too, but maybe you need to reevaluate and get back out and talk with them. So going back another slide, and I think at this point we will look for your Q&A, and if not, Jeff, Robert, Peter, is there something that you would like to finish adding to your presentation? Any follow-ups or expectations or anything?
The first thing, on behalf of Robert, Peter, and myself, just really want to thank you, Cherie, so much for the opportunity and your comments and your insightful observations, and hopefully those are things that will help you in your role and the HBA in really focusing on those action items, and look forward to reviewing your action plan with you.
Oh, wonderful. I'll take you up on it.
Right. Robert, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I would. Again, it's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. 95% of every prospect that we ever visit with is never followed up. This isn't just in Denver, Colorado. It's the United States. It's not the United States, it's globally. So we would encourage you to create a paradigm shift and realize what Jeff and Peter and Cherie and Connie have taught us today. You know, we're never established until we've sold our last product or service. So we would encourage you to create a paradigm shift and make sure you're following up with 95% of all of your prospects instead of just 5. You'll be amazed at how many referrals you'll get. You'll be amazed at how, even though it may take a little while in order for you to obtain a sale, just stay on top of these folks. They wouldn't have engaged you unless they were interested in what you have to offer, to sell, and to enjoy. So I thank you very, very much for being with us today, and thank you for affording me the opportunity to participate with the best home builders association in the United States.
Thank you all. Thank you, everybody, for being online. Talk to you soon. Get out and network.
Cherie, thank you so much. It looks, I really appreciate that. Peter, is there anything you would like to share?
No, you guys summed it up very well, per usual.
Fantastic. I'm looking, I don't see any questions. You can raise your hand if you want also. If you see on the bottom of your screen, there should be a place for you to raise your hands. If you do have a question, in absence of that, I would just like to ask Peter a quick question. Of the things that you shared today, what would you say is the one most poignant thing in the COVID world that every participant should take away from today?
You know, Jeff, I knew when I said you guys did a great job of it, you were going to end up asking me the question anyway, so that's okay. I think in the situation that we're in currently, business is being done differently than it has been in the past. And I think you almost have to tier your approach to success, that either when this is winding down or we're finally rid of the COVID regulatory issues. And what I mean by tiering is, I go back to the statement I meant about low-hanging fruit is the perfect way to start trying to figure out how to increase sales, add revenue, and that is through referrals. Robert makes the point all the time that that's not fair. A lot of people don't follow up with referrals, and I talk to all the loan officers and I say, the best time is when you've got that customer happy, and that's at the closing table. And ask for those referrals, because that is the low-hanging fruit. Then from there, you can tier up through different relationships with trade associations, with employers, whatever it might be, to increase sales.
Great. Bob, I'd really like to ask you that question and really focus in on today's environment. And you shared so much and it's so much value, but what would you say is the one thing that everybody on this call today can do that give them a breakthrough?
Is that asked to me?
I thought it was to Robert.
Oh,
Okay.
ask for referrals. Ask for referrals. The first
And
time.
how often should people ask for referrals, Robert?
All the time. When you meet someone and you engage, don't think that you have to complete the service or the product sale and make sure that they're happy 3 or 4 months later. If when you know that they're comfortable with you, it's all right for you to begin asking for that referral right away. And the reason is that you're showing those folks that you believe in them and that they're credible. And as a result, they will respond in kind and will be able to provide you with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 referrals right away. And then you can obtain the contact information as well from these folks and have the opportunity to pick up the phone and say, I was just referred by Cherie Talbert, and gosh, and Connie Dahl said this about our product, and we would love to integrate that. So when you are following up with your referrals, use your third-party testimonials, use the folks credibly that had referred you, and you will increase your qualified traffic, your sales, and your closings, regardless of the product or service. Thank you very much, Jeff.
Great, Robert. I'm gonna piggyback really on what both of you said and kind of combine it, is that what I believe is the #1 strategy everybody on this call, and that means Connie and Cherie as well, is everyone that you have a current relationship with or have had a past relationship with, and categorize them, A, B, C, D. Reach out to the A's as soon as you can and have a real conversation with them and look for opportunity. And it may be an opportunity to help them. It may be an opportunity for them to help you. It could be as a referral. It could be as a strategic alliance. It could be as a mentor. It could be in any of a number of ways. But be in communication with people you have current or past relationships with, and see how you can help each other. That's how we're going to get out of this, and that's how we're going to grow the quickest, because you have the trust and relationship. Build on it together, build on it collaboratively. That's what Peter and Robert and I have done, working collaboratively with the HBA of Metro Denver, working with Cherie, working with Connie, and working with each of you. So that's the number one thing I think you should take away. All that we've shared can help you, but if there's one thing you do, that would be it. Cherie, Connie, I'll leave you to make any closing comments. Cherie, you're muted.
Thank you. I, first of all, love that you ended with the one thing that we should leave with, and that is so important, especially when there's a lot to digest. Again, you gave us an MBA program here. So the one thing is wonderful, and I really liked the knowing that there were 10 things as well. Then you knew that you had 3 more left, and this was good. I get more information. So you guys really did a fantastic job, and I do believe this is applicable to every member that we have at the HBA of Metro Denver, and I am so appreciative of you 3, and that this can be part of our library legacy of helping people, not just all the time, but especially during this more challenging time that everybody's experiencing. So thank you again. Everybody who is remaining on, you will see a pop-up. It's going to be a feedback survey. If you could please fill that out, that's going to help the HBA, and it's going to help the speakers know what you got from this, if you would like follow-up, and if we're making sure that we're reaching out to you the way you need to be reached out to. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, attendees. Thank you, Connie. Have a good rest of the afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.